What happens to joint credit card balances or debt when you divorce? In the jurisdiction where I practice divorce law, Utah, the law is not that joint debt incurred during the marriage will presumptively remain the debt of both spouses, and thus the responsibility of both parties to pay. Quote, importantly, our law requires only a fair and equitable, not an equal, division of marital debts. See Sinclair v. Sinclair, Volume 718, Pacific Reporter 2nd, page 396, pinpoint page site 398, Utah 1986. Dahl v. Dahl, 459, Pacific Reporter 3rd, page 276, Supreme Court of Utah, at paragraph 139. Under Utah Code Section 30-2-51B, neither spouse is personally liable for the separate debts incurred by the other spouse during the marriage, but both spouses are responsible for family expenses. See Utah Code Section 30-2-9 sub 1. Nevertheless, there is no fixed formula for determining the division of debts in a divorce action. We require only that the district court's allocation of debt be based on adequate factual findings, and we will not disturb those findings absent an abuse of discretion. See Liston v. Liston, 269, Pacific Reporter 3rd, page 169. Utah Code 30-2-5 provides that neither spouse is personally liable for the separate debts, obligation, or liabilities of the other contracted or incurred during the marriage. However, both parties are liable for family expenses. Again, see Code Section 30-2-9 sub 1. Moreover, in a divorce action, there is no fixed formula upon which to determine a division of debts. However, such allocation must be based upon adequate factual findings, which ruling we will not disturb absent an abuse of discretion. Family expenses, even if incurred by one spouse without the other's knowledge or consent, but for the benefit of the family, is debt for which both spouses cannot, shall, be held jointly liable, and in a divorce, a court could even order the spouse who did not incur such family expense debt to pay it all if there is a factually sufficient argument for doing so. But a joint credit card account is not necessarily a debt. It's an account that can, and usually is, used to incur debt. Even so, the mere fact of a debt owed to a joint credit card account does not mean that the debt was incurred by both spouses equally, or even that it was incurred by one spouse or the other for family expenses. Thus, if your spouse ran up a debt on a joint credit card account for expenses that are clearly not family expenses and are instead exclusively or primarily for your spouse's personal benefit, you may persuade the court to order your spouse responsible to pay all or most of such debt. If the debt was incurred for the benefit of you both or for the benefit of the whole family, the court is more likely to allocate responsibility for paying the debt between both spouses. But remember, the court is not required to do so.